My name is Martha Brotherton. I was born Martha Harvey, baptised in the year 1782 in the village of Whittington near Chesterfield in Derbyshire. It was a place of fields of hard work and close communities. My early years were shaped by faith, family, and the quiet discipline of domestic life. Like many young women of my generation, I was taught the arts of household management, cooking, preserving, sewing, and caring for others. But I was also raised in a household that valued conscience. My family believed deeply that how one lives matters, that kindness, restraint, and compassion should guide our daily choices. In 1805, I married my cousin, Joseph Brotherton. We were married at St. Bartholomew's Church in Whittington, the same parish where I had been baptised. It was there, among familiar stones and neighbours, that we began our life together. Joseph was a cotton manufacturer, but more than that, he was a minister in the Bible Christian Church, a small but determined Christian movement committed to simplicity of life, temperance, and abstinence from animal food. Later, he would become the first Member of Parliament for Salford. But when we married, our life together was one of modest means and shared purpose. We moved to Pendleton near Salford, at the heart of industrial Lancashire. There, amid smoke, mills, and growing poverty, Joseph preached, and I worked quietly beside him. We believed that reform did not begin in Parliament, it began at the table. Our church taught that a diet free from meat and intoxicating drink was not merely healthier, it was morally necessary. We believed that violence to animals dulled compassion, that alcohol destroyed families, and that simplicity brought clarity of mind and spirit. I began to collect recipes. At first they were simply practical solutions: how to prepare nourishing meals without meat, how to make soups, puddings, pies, and savoury dishes using vegetables, grains, eggs, butter, and fruit. But over time I realised that many households struggled to imagine cookery without flesh. So in 1812 I allowed my work to be published. It appeared first in serial form, anonymously, under the title A New System of Vegetable Cookery. Later, in 1821, it was gathered into book form as Vegetable Cookery, with an introduction recommending abstinence from animal food and intoxicating liquors. Joseph wrote the introduction. I did not put my name upon it. At that time, women rarely did. But the book travelled further than I ever expected. It was reprinted many times. By 1833 it had grown to over 1,000 recipes. Copies crossed the Atlantic. Families in Britain and America used it in their kitchens. Among the recipes was one that later gained particular notice: a pudding from Derbyshire, made with puff pastry, fruit preserve, eggs, butter, almonds, sugar, and mashed potato. Today it is called Bakewell pudding, and I believe mine is the first recorded recipe for the pudding. In my book, it was simply one dish among many, practical, economical, and satisfying. Joseph did not confine his convictions to the pulpit or the home. In 1847 he spoke publicly at the meeting in Ramsgate, where the Vegetarian Society was formally founded, lending his voice and authority to a movement that was beginning to take shape across the country. Our family life was marked by both joy and loss. We had several children, but not all survived. Our youngest, little Sarah, died in infancy and was laid to rest in the churchyard at St. Bartholomew's, Whittington, close to the place where Joseph and I had been married and near to where members of my family were buried. Such losses were common in my time, yet they are never light to bear. Our daughter Helen grew into a remarkable woman, continuing our work in education, philanthropy, and vegetarian advocacy. She later served as Vice President of the Vegetarian Society, working alongside my brother William. William had been a business partner of Joseph and took over the business when Joseph retired. William was also involved in the Bible Church and served as deacon. He also became the second president of the Vegetarian Society. Joseph served in Parliament for nearly 20 years. He campaigned for factory reform, public libraries, education, and the improvement of working people's lives. He was one of the signatories and supporters of the first Public Libraries and Museums Acts, helping to make free libraries and museums possible for ordinary citizens. Joseph believed that learning and culture should belong to everyone, not only to those who could afford them. I remained mostly at home, managing our household and supporting his efforts quietly. That was the way of things. But do not mistake quiet for unimportant. Reform does not live only in speeches and laws. It lives in kitchens. It lives in how mothers feed children. It lives in whether families choose compassion over convenience. I died in 1861 in Pendleton, aged 78. Joseph had gone before me by 4 years. We are buried at Weast Cemetery in Salford. I did not leave monuments. I left recipes. I left principles. And I left the belief that everyday choices, what we eat, how we live, how we treat others, can shape the future as surely as any act of Parliament. If my work helped even a few families live more gently upon this earth, then it was enough. My name is Martha Brotherton. Thank you for listening.